Hello, welcome to Book Club. Scared someone there. Today we're starting our book, Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I'm super excited to get into this one. I know for
Same guy who
me,
wrote Chronicles of Narnia.
so
No
we
way.
learned. So we learned. That is kind of crazy. Honestly, I was reading this. I never would have without like you saying that or like someone telling me that. I never would have guessed when I was reading
Wormwood
this.
just sounds like a Chronicles of
It
Narnia.
does kind of.
I
True,
just read
it
it off
does
the
have
top
the
of the
names
book.
are. Does it say that?
Yeah,
Yeah, on the
just
top.
best-selling author of the Chronicles of Narnia.
Wow.
I see.
See,
Really
mine
digging
kinda
deep into
look
When
authors.
does it say
Guys.
that?
Whoa!
Whoa!
What? That's sick. Mine
What?
just
Yeah.
Dude,
d-
I thought we
d-
all agreed. What the hell?
does
You just
does
came
yours
out.
Nah, it's
have
all
the
right. I
cool
respect it.
different length of paper on your pages?
Does
Okay,
it
I thought
feel
that was
like
just a part.
letters?
They're letters.
See, it feels
Yeah,
like
I thought that
letters,
was a part
right?
of the. I didn't know what that actually was. I was like, huh, why is this textured so weirdly?
Wait,
I
yours is
love
kind
it.
of
It's like a
cooler.
journal. It feels like a journal, which is like really cool because like I think it was like the very first preface was like, I don't know if anyone read it, but it's like, I don't
I
know.
did.
I'm not going to explain how I got this stuff. I don't even know if it's in order or like, just and also keep in mind Devil's Lie. Like you're just totally playing like this is like such
Yes.
a
So
such a
fire.
real thing. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
So
Okay, well,
fire.
getting too much into the book. What's up, guys? How y'all been? It's been a while.
Excited to dive
I
into
know
this
I am
one.
excited because I
Dude,
really enjoyed this, but
it was a different read, not in a bad way, but at the same time, it was also an extremely fun read for me personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
didn't know
was.
what
Asking
it was
this.
going to be at all, but very fun.
Very fun.
The satire is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so well done.
Spoilers.
Speaking of fun,
Please.
David Connor and I going to the Renaissance Festival
We
together.
are
Oh, that
going to the
happened.
Renaissance
Oh no, it's
Festival
coming
this
up. It's
Saturday.
coming up.
Yes, this
Ooh.
Saturday.
Yeah,
We're all LARPing.
yeah.
We're all dressing up. Connor by far has the best outfit.
Oh yeah, it's not
Should
even
I get the
close.
hat?
It's actually insane.
Yes, get
Can
the
I
hat.
can
I'm
I
gonna
send it
need to
into
see.
the chat so that
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see some
yeah.
pictures of these outfits.
I don't have pictures of mine, but Howie, let me just tell you, Connor's is actually
Shit.
immaculate, bro.
My little flare went
Oh,
down.
I
dude, it's
sent it
got a
just now.
feather in the hat.
I got 2 feathers in the
You have
hat.
2 feathers. It's actually
2
so bad.
feathers.
Any of our listeners going to be at Renfest this
A
weekend?
real con
Look out.
one. Yeah, the Texas
Yo,
Renaissance Festival. Come give
dude,
honk,
Right?
come
that's
talk to
actually
Connor.
and like the thing is too is like that fits Connor perfectly. Like it's
I
just
know.
it's such a well picked out outfit.
So fire, dude.
Saturday is going to be Connor's day.
That's so true.
We're the
Connor's
side
day and we're all just
characters.
living in it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's so
We
cool.
are. That's funny.
Well, this is what the hat's supposed to look like. I can't get the pin in right now, but yeah, I mean it sits on the head really well.
When you don't have headphones on. That's cool.
That's an exciting thing to look
That is
forward
super
to this
exciting. I'm excited
weekend.
to hear about it in the next book club.
I wish you could be there, Howie, but I know it's quite a drive, and also we're going to go pretty early.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know if I'm looking to. I'm not full
Not looking to
on
ring it
like.
up.
Yeah, I'm not looking to like. What's the word?
LARP.
LARP. Yeah. I'm not like. I ain't feeling that like.
He
can't
wouldn't. He
think of
wouldn't
the
stick
right
to the
word.
accent.
Mm-hmm.
He would drop immediately.
Yeah, bro. I
You'd be
couldn't
taking
do
all
it.
the tequila.
I couldn't do it. I respect that. I respect y'all for doing it though. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
We'll send you a picture of all of us in costume.
Yes, please do.
We can put it on the next
Please do.
episode.
I'll be so excited. Flash
Yep.
it. Yeah, I can flash it.
Yeah. And hopefully
so cool.
a video of us throwing tomatoes at Connor in the stocks.
Whoa!
Call back!
Get him in the
Call back!
stocks.
Throw those tomatoes.
One is for all our listeners that listen to the first episode.
Connor in the stocks
OGs.
is for Patreons only, guys.
I wanted to hear life updates because it's been a while since we had our last book club, unfortunately.
Oops.
Yes.
Oopsies.
Not to name any names. It's okay. We won't do that. We don't do that here.
No. This is a respectable, professional
Yes, a very
Club.
professional, inclusive book club as well. You know,
So Howie, how have you been, man?
dude, I've been good. Well, I've been busy. Things ramping up. It's getting to be uh December, like holiday season. You get some projects out. It's getting busy. But
That end of the year grind.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm pretty tired today, I'll be honest, but hey, when book club
Power
calls,
through.
book club calls, you know what I'm saying?
Hell
But
yeah.
nah, things have been good. Nothing real crazy has happened I can think of. I don't know. I'm gonna grab this real quick. We got this book nook on Nicole's bookshelf. It's really cool. Let me.
Whoa.
Oh, that's
The
so
glare is the glare is
cool.
killing it. But like,
That's
yeah,
sick.
it's like this
That's
whole like
crazy.
world inside
You can see
of.
Connor in there.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
me in it.
I told her that we needed that or nothing. It was a deal break. It was like it was a deal breaker if you didn't Connor in there.
No, that was
But
super cool, dude.
yeah, no. So that was cool. We put that together. Well, mostly her, but we
Oh,
put it
that's cute.
together. So that was pretty cool. That was
The
fun.
line,
Fun
the
little
witch, and the
project.
Connor in the wardrobe.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good callback.
that
Good
was
callback.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
We also we've got our apartment a little Halloween decorated. We have this little garland right here. There's some ghosts hanging up over there.
Whoa.
Dude,
It's
making
that
me
time
think
of
I gotta
year.
decorate for the seasons now for book
I
club.
know the
You
rest
have the
of us
Yeah,
are
perfect setup already,
woefully.
Seth. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's already
Or
just lighting the
spooky.
dark.
it's
Yeah.
pure spooky vibes.
I'm
But
always bringing
yeah,
the spooky vibes.
no, I mean not too much on my end. Getting back into working out, so that's good.
Well, that is
Getting,
Good
getting
perfect.
stuff.
back
Love to
into the
hear it.
gym. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And just work busyness. You know how it is. What about? I'll pass off to Connor. What about you, Connor? How have things been with you?
Oh man, I've just been working.
Yeah,
But I've been actually having weekends recently, and that's been
dude.
Ooh,
pretty crazy.
What's that
what
like?
have you
Do
been
you like
doing at
not know what to do
those?
with your time now that you have it?
Yeah.
It's exactly what it's like. No, actually, I had like this whole thing 2 weeks ago where like it was Friday. I was so excited to get off of work, and then I was driving home. And I'm like, fuck, dude, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna do laundry, and then that'll be my whole weekend.
There you go.
But last weekend, I actually went to a Eagles tribute band.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it was just like a bunch of like 60 pluses. Crazy crowd, man. They're absolutely bonkers, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
That's
was like, man,
cool.
somebody's got to cut off the fucking beer line over there, man. They're just chugging this shit. They brought out a keg, started doing keg stands. I was like,
That's
damn.
Things are going
crazy.
Doing
crazy.
keg stands?
I'm just kidding. They did not.
Oh, I
Oh,
got
dude,
excited.
that would have been
I was about to say,
wild.
please send videos.
Yeah, right, surely.
That would have been like impressive, actually.
No,
Yeah.
man, but you better believe I tore up that dance floor, man. I was
Of
going
course.
off. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
Connor.
Me,
You're
sure.
him,
getting
and
jiggy.
Haley.
Oh, he's getting jiggy. I love to hear it.
Big classic rock guy, then, Connor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love all music. I listen to all types. My normal everyday music is probably what most people would consider shit music, but I love it.
But that's all that matters, as long as you like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Is it like cave noises, like shit music, or is it like Taylor Swift's newest album is in your rotation right now? Like,
No,
what's.
no, it's Hot
What do
Mulligan's
you
new
mean?
album.
Redwood isn't on your rotation, dude?
No, yeah, I was a big fan of Redwood. I was a huge fan of Redwood. Yeah. So
Yeah, to put
yeah,
it
no,
away.
I love the modern trend of music where they just start talking about try to keep it PG, human parts.
Appreciate
Connor,
it.
you
Some
sound
reason,
so old right now.
Hey, they're
for
still
some
60
reason,
pluses, Seth.
dude, for some reason they're always top of the charts, though. I will say,
They
maybe
are.
they're doing something right.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know. And the music I listen to is never on the charts. So what does that say?
Yeah, maybe you're just wrong, Connor.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to listen to more Redwood, man. Figure it
Connor,
out.
you're on Ox on the drive to Renfest.
The 15-minute drive.
Yeah, I need to
You
hear
guys have
it.
to learn. You guys have to know what he's bumping
Yeah.
to. That's
Dude, you're gonna
funny.
hate it, but you're gonna love it. It's gonna get you pumped.
I'm excited.
David, what's happened with you?
Well, as I was teasing a couple weeks ago, definitely things are ramping up here. We have officially started to build the new booth, the new photo booth set, new kind of, I guess, garage out in the back. We finished up other couple projects, closing off the whole property. This is fun. Merch.
Oh,
You all need to get one of those.
okay.
Merch drop.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
buying one.
Yo.
I'm buying one this weekend. No cap.
Merch drop. Merch
A
drop.
little propaganda there. So that was cool. Probably gonna get more. This was just a quick little test run to see how it was, and it turned out pretty well. So new uniforms.
Yo, that's exciting.
This weekend went to ACL, which was a really fun time. Very tiring. Sunday I was dead. Alexa literally had to get me up to actually brush my teeth because I caught myself snoring. I was like, my God, I am out. I was blowing my nose and it came out black because there was a fuck ton of dust there. But you know what?
Dude. That happened to me at Gov Ball, so that's just normal.
Yeah, it's just
that
normal,
just
dude.
Okay.
It just happens. But aside from
thought I
that, it
was
was really
dying.
cool. Yeah, I could feel it in the back of my throat and all over my sinuses. But had a good time. It was my first real music festival. Got to see a guy named John Summit that I hadn't really heard of, but it was a vibe. It was really cool. It was like that EDM music, so it was a nice time. And yeah, overall, been pretty busy with work, but also enjoying the weekends here and there. So that's how it's been for
Nice,
me.
man.
Was that your favorite act, Johnny?
Yeah, John Summit was my favorite act. My favorite song
awesome.
was DJ or Joe.
I forgot he was there. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so jealous.
Roddy was.
He did.
So
Roddy was good live. Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the energy was electric. Just feeling because everybody knew the lyrics too, so it was just so good.
Man, I'm jealous.
It was a really fun time. Got to see some artists that I hadn't really heard of either. So yeah, aside from that, other weekends have been pretty chill, and then Renfest this weekend, so that's a great thing to look forward to. But yeah, I'll pass it off to Seth.
Fire. I think it's interesting that like Connor's like his updates have been like it's really really busy, and I was like going down, but I feel like all the other three of us are like it's like going up right now.
Yeah.
As we get closer. Yeah. It was kind of it's been slow. It's been a while since we've talked. I'm realizing it was like I just finished like a massive project like last month, and then I've been in the kind of doldrums between that and the next stuff, which is I hate so much. What I really want and a good project is like 2 days of doing no work at all and then jump right back into something, because doing a bunch of little miscellaneous tasks and just generally not having work to do, I don't know, something about it is just draining to me. But it looks like I got some good work in front of me, so it's starting to edge up. I'm starting to feel like an engineer again. But it's been kind of convenient because I've been traveling a bunch. Keep still visiting California, and then I went to Dallas last weekend. Actually did visit Howie this time.
Yeah,
we had it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah, I got to introduce him to my girlfriend, which was exciting.
Gotta have the wife and the girlfriend meet too. So that was nice.
Exactly. But yeah, I got to meet a bunch of her friends. She got to meet a bunch of mine. It was like a good little weekend. It was fun. But the weekend between that was like what you said, Connor, is like a laundry weekend. It was like, let me do all the chores that I've been putting off for like the last month. And then next weekend I'm going to Mexico actually.
Whoa.
For a mission trip. Yeah. Super excited.
So you're doing Renfest this weekend and then Mexico next weekend.
Yeah. So it was California break weekend, Dallas, Renfest, Mexico.
It's okay. You'll have your Sunday to yourself.
Yes.
Renfest is only Saturday.
It is only Saturday, which is nice.
Sunday's football Sunday though, so like that's some nice, get to enjoy that.
Football Sunday's over for me after Howie whooped my ass in fantasy, and then I'm like 0-6 now. I have a historically bad fantasy team, like, and this will be the end of the fantasy talk for the foreseeable future. But oh my god, my team is hilariously bad.
It's really bad.
Historically bad.
The cope is I'm doing bad in fantasy because I'm so busy with real life. That's my cope.
There you go. You're traveling everywhere, man.
Like Howie isn't like just as busy. But yeah, so it's been busy. It's been fast, but and sometimes I feel like I'm drowning. But we're chilling now. I'm in a good spot.
That's what I'm talking about. Just like how this poor guy who Wormwood is looking at is not in a good spot, but he's trying to get him in a good spot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going into the book. Guys, again, I didn't know. I feel like I say this every single time, but I'm going to say it again. I didn't know what to expect, but this was it is currently an extremely fun read, and it's in a perspective that I can't say I've ever been accustomed to reading in. So that's also just another level on that adds to the enjoyment of this book.
Dude, one thing I really liked about this book is that I feel like, I mean, clearly religion is the overarching theme here, but it just touches on a lot of like other points that I feel like we've like almost just like gotten close to discussing or have discussed in the past,
Yeah.
That was something that I really enjoyed reading it because like it like almost like how to act correctly and all that kind of stuff. And I mean that's why like I was thinking about it too when like we had this book coming up next. It was like, I mean, philosophy and religion really aren't that far off. They both kind of describe ways to live life, right?
Yep.
So I was like very pleasantly surprised when I read this because I also did not know what to expect.
With that being said, I do have a question. And this is regarding something that you said, Seth, that I would be lying if I said I fully understood, even now after reading the book. You described it as a Christian apologetic, I think is what you said. And I would like you to expand on that because I don't entirely know what that means.
Hold up. If I'm gonna expand on this, I better do it right. I'm gonna do the first book club Google.
No.
Because I have to remember exactly what this term means. Please be right.
David actually already looked this up and he realized that you were incorrect.
Okay.
And so he wants you to expose yourself.
Just calling him out on it.
Yeah.
So the name is misleading. This is knowledge I wouldn't have had I not just did a quick Google. But I didn't know what it was. Apologetic is essentially a rational defense of your faith. So it's trying to boil it down in a weird way, much like most of the philosophy books that we've read have been boiled down to. So kind of like a logical set of ideas that would lead to defending your faith. It comes from the Greek word apologia, which means defense, which is why it's confusing because it makes me think of apologizing.
Right.
Which I guess in a weird way is a defense, if you really want to think about it like that. But yeah, so that's kind of why it's I think what's interesting about this book is it tackles that in a very interesting way, where instead of it being it's almost not like it's almost like it's not trying to prove that God exists. It's trying to prove that like Satan exists. And then maybe the like jump is that God exists on the other side of that.
What is that called in math when you have proofs? It's the proving something through its counter.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Seth wants to do a second book club Google search.
Second book club.
I'm the book club Google searcher. Proof by contradiction. Oh my
God.
That's what it is. It almost had it. It was on the tip of our tongues.
Yes.
That's how I see it as tackling this subject.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to kind of start off, like how I mentioned before about like like other ideas we've kind of seen or expressed in the past. So at the bottom of page one, it says, "Jargon, not argument, is your best ally in keeping him from the church. Don't waste time trying to make him think that materialism is true. Make him think it is strong or stark or courageous. That it is the philosophy of the future. That's the sort of thing he cares about." And it's that the idea, right, of like using like people care more about like flashiness, cool words,
Mm-hmm.
especially like, which is kind of like I don't know how old this book was, but it gets even more like obvious now, where everyone gets distracted by like
Mhm.
this bright screen or like flashing lights, just like these bright colors. And I'm not going to go into there, but like the
Subway
idea,
Surfers.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it kind of reminds me of our talks on like desire and stuff, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
like it like the YouTube, right? Like, oh, that's cool. That's flashy. Let me look at that rather than trying to like think of like something that can actually add value to like everyone's life or like, stuff like that. And I thought it was really interesting to see like this just those ideas we kind of discussed like being brought up here. But yeah.
Yeah, kind of the whole thing about like propaganda in this first part, um, which I think will be referenced throughout the book, because to answer your question, Howie, this book, it says the copyright was in 1942. So they were in the midst of some really important things
Some big
going on.
propaganda stuff happening here. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure that that was kind of on the forefront of his mind.
No
And
wonder they
that's,
were talking about the European War.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I was wondering what
European.
that was referring to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which one?
I like to do this thing where like I'll try to place the time and like when I'm reading, and I was like European War. Okay, all right. He's talked about the German leaders. Okay, all right, all right, all right.
As
I
soon
have
as
an
you said
idea of who
German,
he's talking about.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I completely forgot about that part.
Yeah.
At
It's
first I
also
thought it was a
interesting
part of
because
the
he calls it,
Crusades.
yeah. It's interesting because he calls it the European War because
Because
that's
he's
what
there
it
in it.
was at
Yeah.
that point. Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, the kind of it's really interesting that the idea that like how Screwtape is so against arguing, like reaching a truth, you know, um, because then there's actual grounds to like contend with your ideas, and I think that's something. I mean, something that really hit to me was like. Your man has been accustomed ever since he was a boy to have a dozen incompatible philosophies dancing about together inside his head. Um, and that's something that I definitely can strongly relate to. A little less now. I feel like I'm moving towards kind of having a good idea of like how I see things and feeling good about that. But I definitely was a long period of time where I felt very lost, and it was very much like, which way is up? Like, what am I supposed to hold on to? And so I think in those moments it's very easy to kind of attach yourself to an idea that serves your interests and nothing else, um, because you don't have to worry about being wrong. You just have to worry about how it affects your life.
Yeah, I think especially this beginning part, it was a very strong sense of that. Don't actually let the person think, because if they think, then they'll realize how insane a lot of the like things that they are doing or thinking are. Um, like, and another thing I also thought that was really interesting too was like on page four, at the end of this chapter one part. Um, it says that by always keeping the mind focused on reality in the physical world, then the person cannot find a spiritual truth. Um, okay, yeah. So like, okay, actually, I think this reminds me. Sorry, about the sciences. But this reminds me about something I've like mentioned in the past about like how science and religion I think can kind of coexist in a way. I remember I brought it up on like a book club like a while back. But
Yeah.
what I think is really interesting here by reading this is that it says like on page four again. Above all, do not attempt to use science, I mean the real sciences, as a defense against Christianity. They will positively encourage him to think about realities he can't touch and see. And so, like, this entire page right here is also talking about like trying to keep the person like grounded in like reality and like make them only think about like what's going on in the physical world and never think about a spiritual world, because you start to think about like some kind of reality that you can't touch, like you can't like
Mhm.
really see, like a real what I think he means by real science is maybe like quantum science, like quantum physics or something. But like this like mystical world where if you actually start thinking about it, it brings you into this like more spiritual realm. And so just anything that can focus on only the physical world is what, the devils want, which I think is also really interesting because like Albert Camus, I think in a sense he was saying that we should only focus on the physical world to a certain extent, right? I don't know. Am I reaching on that one? Or what do you guys think about that?
Oh, I would say, I feel like Camus wasn't, you should only focus on the physical world in front of you. I think it was more Camus like becoming, because this reads absurd to me, right?
Think
Like
so.
the idea of a world you can't touch or see, and like this description of like, keep them from thinking because otherwise they will think about like a spiritual world, a world outside of like their immediate reality. That felt like the man at the train stop who's being hit with the absurdity of his situation, right? And I feel like those moments don't come from you only focusing on what's in front of you. I think if you just focus on what's in front of you, the absurd will fade into the background. And I feel like Camus wasn't about completely discounting that. He was about kind of like integrating that idea and being comfortable with it.
Using it
But
as a cornerstone of what you do and what you do it for.
yeah, but maybe I'm also off here.
No, I don't think that's too far off. I definitely saw it as Camus was essentially using that to reverse engineer the idea of why you should do things, not in a sense of disregarding it and only focusing on the physical aspects of the world.
Mhm.
Which, about reverse engineering, it's so interesting how this is doing that for Christianity, and it's really it's so fun how it's doing it in the eyes of the the enemy or the demons,
Yeah.
to reverse engineer the logic of Christianity, which is I'm really liking it. And I found myself throughout this book also, this is kind of a side point, that how you said in the preface, Howie, about him literally saying it's the devil. Not everything he says is true. I found myself oftentimes trying to apply that thought as I was reading this book, like, is this, there was one specific point where it was when he was talking about the relation between the patient and the mother, and it said, oftentimes you develop certain faces or tones that just absolutely annoy the other person. And well, that was like a small case where I was really thinking, is that really true? Do I find that happening very often? Even if I live with someone, I don't know if I would entirely agree with that. And that was just moments like that made me also really conscious while I was reading this book.
I kept trying to
Yeah.
find the lies too. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I was like, dude, you can't just say that. And not there not be something in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were moments like that, and I it's going to be fun going forward to continue to look for that, while also, maybe seeing the logic of some. You could see the logic of, at the same time, see the flaw in the logic while you're watching that, and then build it up. But yeah, and it's something we'll
Yeah.
continue to do as we continue to read.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, specifically the part about the patient and his mother, I don't know about you guys. I low
That
key
was a
felt kind
solid
of
part.
called out by
Yeah,
that in
I was
some way.
gonna say.
Really?
It wasn't just me. I was agreeing. This is like,
I was gonna say, hey, David, you're doing really good, man. Your devil's not getting to you.
I was like, I am
Appreciate it, man.
definitely done that. Like, specifically, the talking about in civilized life, domestic hatred usually expresses itself by saying things which would appear quite harmless on paper. The words are not offensive, but in such a voice or at such a moment that they are not far short of a blow to the face. And then later it says, hence, from every quarrel, they can both go away convinced or very nearly convinced that they are quite innocent. And it was like the concept of wanting your words to be taken at face value and not being read into it all, but then reading into every single word that's coming out of the person that's talking to you. So, like, being offended at what they say, but not understanding how they could be offended by what you say. I've been there. I've been in those moments, and they're not fun.
Can I
And
take
it kind of encouraged me to, like, when those moments happen, to kind of think about what's being said here.
I just want to take a quick moment, maybe. I want to get back to this because I think that this is actually something very important to talk about because I like how Connor, you and Seth are talking about like how, you know, you are finding like you're kind of getting feel like called out. So I think like talking about this is actually just good in general. Um,
Mhm.
but I just want to make a quick comment because this actually like really amazes me about like how great this rhetoric is in that aspect, where it's
Yeah.
not making an argument about like, oh, saying to people, you're doing this is how like a Christian should act. This is how you should be acting. You're doing this wrong because that allows the opportunity for the opposing side to take offense to it and you
Yeah.
know like they want to argue against it. Rather, he takes the side of this where he says, hey, we are devils. This is what we want people to do. This is how we want them to act. And like, but going at such a detailed level to like literally describe like the thoughts and actions of people and how like what they do to a point of like, oh man, I do this. Wait, a devil is saying that they want this to happen.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Like it makes you think about it, you know? And like that's exactly what's happening, like, here and like in this book club. And I think that style of writing, in my opinion, is just very impressive. And I guess for anyone listening who's like aspiring writer or like something like that, like man, take notes because this is a really fine piece of argument right here.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said there weren't moments where I also, not in that specific aspect, but there were moments for me as well that I thought, it kind of made me second, not a lot, but made me kind of do a double take on my own forms of thinking in some scenarios. I don't remember exactly where it was. Maybe we'll get to it. If not, I'll make a mental note, but know that y'all are not alone in that.
I was gonna say, if we are, we still got 3/4 of the book left. There's plenty of time for
There's
you to
plenty of
get
time to
called
call
out.
people out. Yeah. No, but that is a big thing though of like looking at people and just making assumptions like, oh, this person is annoying me on purpose. Or the other thing too, where like, going to church and seeing other people and being like, this is my ideal of a Christian. Like this person makes
That was
mistakes
that was that
too.
was really interesting,
Like
actually. Yeah,
like that
when he
stuff was really good.
using
Really
that
good.
as a means of sort of stifling the beginning of the faith of the patient, using
Yeah.
the idealism that is not actually there anymore, or not anymore, but isn't there, to stifle. And that brings up another point in where he also talked about, I actually really liked, and he said humans have this weird thing of fantasizing about stuff, right? And
Mhm.
when they get there and then they realize it's not, it's kind of anticlimactic. Anticlimactic. I don't know why I can't pronounce that. But they don't realize now they have to put in the work, and that, in a sense, kind of slows the whole fantasy. It brings it more into that realism where now it might it might allow them to stumble on their faith a little bit here and there, and that's where, well, what was Wormwood, right? Woodworm.
Wormwood.
Wormwood.
Yeah.
That's where Wormwood would essentially start to implement himself into his patient, and that was interesting how you can apply that to a lot of things and not just faith, and that's just I'd say part of the human experience, romanticizing ideas and then getting to them and realizing they're not as maybe grandiose as you may have expected them to be when you were fantasizing or romanticizing them.
This overarching idea, I think, is sprinkled out a lot. The idea of like using the devil's using someone's perception of others over the actual reality of things as a way to like have the devils get what they want, right? Um, I mean, like we just talked about with the living with someone and assuming they are annoying us on purpose. Um, like they somehow know, and this was the other thing cool too this part that I like. I forgot where it was exactly, but it was it's just something like let him think that they are doing this thing to annoy you on purpose, like there isn't like a 1 in a million chance that they actually know that they are annoying you.
Yeah.
Like don't let them think
Yeah.
that. Don't let the logic get too far, but just far enough for it to seem to be this ridiculous point.
Mhm.
So like, but like, yeah, the idea of like using the perception of people versus like how it actually is, using logic, using reasoning, with the person who annoys you or everyone else at church who people have like made mistakes before, and just focusing on that stuff, focusing on that like small negative perceived ideas versus like your ideal. And it also makes that mention too of the the man. He makes a point of like trigger warning, a man praying for his wife and child's soul in one moment and then like beating them in the next,
Yeah.
which was crazy. And so I think that's something to keep in mind for everyone is to like, if you have a perceived thought of someone, take a second to step back, realize, okay, this is still a person. This is, I also make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. I mean, like, I, I don't, I know like one of the biggest things of like Christianity and probably like everything is like forgiveness, right?
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people just in general forget that. Even if you're not like, I think that's just something that should be practiced in general. And so, like, the idea of like, oh, this person made a mistake, but then it's a lot easier to forgive if you put it back on yourself and realize, oh, I also make mistakes, and like, this is just a person. Forgive and realize that not no one's against you. No one is trying to annoy you on purpose and stuff like that. We're all just here. We're just people, man.
Not 1 in a million.
Exactly.
1 in a million chance.
So,
There's more than a
yeah.
million people on this planet, though.
Hmm.
Hmm. I think the biggest one of the best examples of this that really resonated with me was when he was talking about the war, the end, and he says there is no good at all in inflaming his hatred of Germans if at the same time a pernicious I'm getting
Real quick,
owned
what
by this
page? Where is
word.
this? Where is this? Where is this?
28.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Precautious? Peculiar?
It's
Where is it?
pernicious, I
I don't
think.
even know where it is.
It looks like pernicious.
We'll cut out all
Anyways,
the other ones until you get it right. Don't worry.
pernicious. There is no good at all in inflaming his hatred of Germans if, at the same time, a pernicious habit of charity is growing up between him and his mother, his employer, and the man he meets in the train. I think that, like, I see this every day. In fact, okay, I was on site. Yes, I was on site like yesterday. And one of the guys on site, an engineer, a different company, I'm just sitting in the control room doing my work. He just walks in and he goes, man, it's so annoying, people with politics. It's just so annoying. And I'm like, oh no, where is this going? But he was kind of spitting. He was like, it doesn't really matter. Like, it matters, but it shouldn't matter so much that you can't help me. It shouldn't matter so much that you don't listen to any of the words that come out of my mouth because I don't agree with you on this. He's like, they're both bad. They both suck. Why is this so important? And I think it's the same thing here where it's like, the devil is realizing that, like, if you have a hatred of Germans, if you have this like overarching like anger, it doesn't matter if the actual effects of your actions in the lives of the people around you are positive, right? And I think a lot of times people flip the other way where they let this like big global anger sweep them, so like they just get so swept up in it that they lose the ability to like help their fellow person, you know. um
That's a
and
yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it mentions too, like let you think that you're being kind, like you are kind, or like things are going great somewhere else, somewhere very far from you, or
yeah,
like inwards, like you inwardly just think you're kind,
yeah,
but like have them not actually put any of that effect into like the actual life around them with people that they like see and meet every day, you know?
mhm.
It was what, the concrete circles, the
The
will,
concentric circles,
concentric,
yes.
yeah, will,
Yeah, that idea was super
intellect, and
interesting.
fantasy.
Yeah.
Keeping the
Oh my
like you
gosh,
said,
yeah,
how
I remember that.
keeping the kindness in the fantasy circle,
Yeah.
and then the hatred and all of that in the will, keeping them very
Oh,
separate.
oh,
That's
I'm
what it
getting called
was.
out again.
Oh yeah?
I'm tagged in this picture and I don't like it.
You catching strays, Seth?
Well, it's like because I find myself falling prey to that where I'm like, I have this fantastical idea that like kindness and trust would solve all of our problems. And I do believe that. But then I go, but there's none of that here. There's only hate and pain, and the world fucking sucks, you know? And it's like, it does suck. But because of that, I get stuck in this mode where I don't actually like do anything, you know? Because I think that the virtues are of the past, you know, and that I can't bring them into my circle today, which is wow.
I
Thanks,
think
C.S. Lewis.
I think that's actually a big problem for a lot of people. I think there's definitely, and this isn't even just like, kindness, but I think maybe even changing the world in general. A lot of people think that, they're the only ones and that no matter if they do, like what they do, it doesn't matter. You know,
Mhm.
Mhm.
like you said, Seth,
That's
the
unfortunately a
world's
very,
still going to have lots of
yeah.
hate and all this stuff. But like the issue is that sure, but if you don't at least try, the absurd. If you don't at least try,
Mhm.
then you're in a way helping that. You're not fighting against
Yeah.
it, and it's a little. In my opinion, like I think of it, I've never thought about this in terms of the absurd, but I do think it's like almost sad because it. And I didn't think about this in the way of the absurd either, but like it's almost like you're giving up, right?
Yeah.
And it's but like be absurd,
Which guarantees that it will be like that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because you're
Hmm.
not actively changing anything, or at least trying to. And even if I mean martyrs, even if you are like almost the only one actually trying, and you end up failing miserably or dying, but like, you make maybe like a small little movement around people around you, and it grows. Like things that you can do in your lifetime that can cause change might have no visual effect, but could actually put ripples into future generations that would make great movements.
This
Um,
is something that I've always been a proponent of, and I think, I don't know if I've mentioned in the book club, but I know I've mentioned it to Connor a few times, and it's that I'm a very big believer in those small actions, of the small ripples that you make in a pond, spreading out and becoming those big changes. And even in today's society, which unfortunately I would say does have a lot of chaos and a lot of evil in the world nowadays, the best way to make change for anything is starting at the base level, the community level, where your immediate surroundings are, nowhere further on, because then you feel like it's detrimental. It's not going to do anything. We're doing it for what?
Mm-hmm.
But then that also comes back to the concentric circles of not letting the fantasy kind of let that idea going into the fantasy circle, but keeping it into your will.
Yes,
Dude.
just using your will. But like the thing is too, it's like I don't blame anyone for thinking like that. I know I definitely thought like that for a while, and I don't know what caused me to change my way of thinking. I'm still actually working on that, where like trying to do things despite the situation or like how things are around
I'm
others.
there with you. It's a very
It's
difficult
a
time
work in
for that.
progress. Yeah.
Well, oh
Um,
man.
but like I understand because I've always thought like that too. Like, oh, what's the point? I don't know why or what happened to make me change that way of thinking, but like I do understand that, and I think maybe the thing is you kind of like the absurd. You just have to realize, man, it is absurd. But like I still like this is what I want. This is how I wanted to go. And you got to at least do something because it can affect others.
This is your
100%.
absurd work.
Yeah, for real.
Seth,
Yeah.
you were gonna say something?
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the ways that I've kind of tried to combat it is actually in this book. Here it's actually talking about prayer. It says, teach them to estimate the value of each prayer by their success in producing the desired feeling, and never let them suspect how much success or failure of that kind depends on whether they are well or ill, fresh or tired at the moment. And I think it's this idea of like when they say they are praying for forgiveness, let them be trying to feel forgiven. I think that this goes back to like what we're talking about, how it can sometimes feel hopeless. You have to be able to make change even when it looks like nothing's happening. Because if you only make change when you see results, you won't be consistent. And you won't actually like keep pushing, right? And so it's like this idea that sometimes being kind to people sucks. It hurts. It doesn't feel good. You feel stupid. You feel like they're like walking over you. Like these are all common feelings that can come with like having sacrificial love for somebody, like actually showing kindness. But you were kind. You succeeded in being a kind human, even if it doesn't make you feel good, right? And so
What a
that
point.
the kind of concept of, yes, it feels like nothing I'm doing is making a change, but I have to keep doing it anyways. I have to keep making a change. You know, I think that's a really good way to combat that and kind of reverse that feeling of hopelessness and to fight it when it does come.
That actually reminds me of another point that was brought up into this book, and it was about that double-edged sword that Screwtape was talking about when the humans are at their lowest, when essentially they feel as though God has left them. That is where it is the moment. That is where you stumble, but you also can reach to new heights because you're at that low point. And in the case, I think he was talking about Job, right? He mentioned him.
I don't know if he
him,
mentioned him, but it's a clear reference to Job.
Yeah, where it was even in those times where it feels like the enemy, quote unquote, or God has left, they still continue to pray. They still act out the prayer even though they don't see any results, or it seems as though they're just speaking to the void with no hope. And how he mentioned it, that was a double-edged sword. He told Wormwood, be careful. Don't get delighted in that, because that is actually what the enemy wants. It wants it because of its own, because of the nature of him wanting to give us free will. It wants you to do it out of your own volition, out of your own necessity of just doing it because you are going to choose to do it, not because you know that immediate results are going to come about, or because you know that the higher power is going to help you immediately right then and there. You just do it out of the free will, and that's how you become this overfilling chalice that and the he wants.
Dude. Yeah, because that's what I say. It's like that's like the worst possible state for the patient to be in, because that just makes a connection, because it is pure faith. Like you
Yeah.
have pure faith in it because, like you said, like it feels like he is gone, disappeared. So when you do it, you do it despite that, which can only truly be from pure faith, right? And yeah, I mean, yeah, just like doing things even though it doesn't look like it's actually having any effect, like an absurd.
And it's
It
crazy how you
reminds
made the
me of
connection to the
Sisyphus.
absurd. Yeah, and this is like wonderful that these connections are being made, and just goes back to philosophy and religion, not kind of just being two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Con, what do you
Well,
think?
it kind of ties into it kind of ties into because like that whole bit was about like when the war in Europe broke out, right? It kind of ties into the uncertainty in number 6, where it says, "I'm delighted to know that your patient's age and profession make it possible, but by no means certain that he'll be called up for military service." So it's that uncertainty is kind of where it can be either a good thing or a bad thing, and he said later on he goes into like either becoming like an advent supporter of the war or becoming a conscientious objector, right? um, and becoming one of those two things can lead you to being ostracized by one group or another, right? But that
Mm,
uncertainty, you know
being
We're all
ostracized,
having
being
a
Oh,
hard
we're
day.
getting
words
ostracized.
tonight,
dumb
guys.
today.
That was another big point in there too. Is I completely forgot about that too. But like that feeling of being ostracized, they I can't remember. Was that like that was also something that was like good and bad, right?
Mhm.
Being ostracized, because like you can have the negative effect. Actually, oh my gosh, this made me realize the idea how like there's so many different things of the same thing, which can be good or bad, and that just like so much like life, where like a lot of things have a good and a bad like learning or thing to it, and you gotta try to take the good, but always take the good, try to avoid the bad, um which is very interesting how you can get good or bad from anything. It's all about perspective. Anyways, but like the being ostracized, so it can be bad because you can feel alone and like really sad and scared and all that stuff, but which also ties into like still believing despite all that,
Mhm.
and that's why it can be good. Man,
Being
making
in the
this,
rut.
yeah, yeah, it's interesting. This the idea of like how being ostracized could actually improve oneself.
Well, because if you believe in what you're doing, it will just more solidify you in your
True.
perspective. Uh, it's kind of goes back a little bit to what we were like talking about before about where people don't want to hear a certain side, you know? So they'll shoot, I can only think of like a political example, but like, if you're talking to one friend who's like, really leaning to one direction, and then you start saying some stuff and that might scare him that you're starting to make a little bit of sense. And he's like, well, no, 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 that's just not what I believe. I'm going to go talk to these guys. These guys think the same way that I do, You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's like you can just end up solidifying yourself into that belief if you're being ostracized.
Yeah, it says all extremes except extreme devotion to the enemy are to be encouraged. Like you said, that concept of going just picking something and being like, yes, that's my thing. I will not hear anything else.
Like almost where it invites
Is
hatred for the other side, right?
yes.
That's why it's
Well,
best to surround yourself with differing points of view.
Yes. Easier said than done, though.
Oh, nowadays for sure.
I mean, we
Yeah.
got chums on one side, we got non-chums on the other side. We got
I guess we're
anarchist
doing.
revolution, communism versus capitalism. You know,
I
it's
guess
like,
we're doing a pretty good job here.
we're doing a pretty good job here,
That's
guys.
Yeah,
true. We do get all perspectives.
the chum one is like the litmus test for whether you have a truly diverse friend group, diverse of thought. How do they feel about chum?
Well, in perspective, all right, chum with regards $2 chum with regards to like a $20 patty, all right. I mean,
I'm choosing
Not
chum
allowed
every
Always gotta
time.
bring price into it.
this can't be in
Damn
a vacuum.
capitalists.
Like I don't like I like food, but I mean I don't care about it that much.
Dude,
Exactly.
speaking of chum's a fun word. I love, quick shout out, I love all the names for the demons in this
Yeah.
book. It's awesome. Slubgob, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I mean he
That's
made
sick.
Narnia, man. I'm sure he had
That's
great
true.
ideas.
That's true. He was good at naming stuff.
Yes, the stuff
Slubgob, bro.
that feels like mystical.
In chapter 8, it's just not because Slubgob came up. He said, I always thought the training college had gone to pieces since they put old Slubgob at the head of it. But now I am sure. Has no one ever told you about the law of undulation?
Oh
It was
wait,
kind of
I sort of remember reading this, but please,
Where is this? Like what page?
chapter 8, letter 8.
37.
37. Okay.
It's
Oh,
kind
so
of
beginning.
this idea. It says their spirit can be directed to an eternal object, but their bodies, passions, and imaginations are in continual change. For to be in time means to change. It's kind of the idea of, I mean, this is a classic. There are good times, there are bad times. But kind of this idea
Right.
where there's like a part of you that's separated from that, I think is the new concept to me. Where like your body and like what's happening in the realm around you in your time is undulating, right? You have really good months, years, you have good seasons, you have bad seasons, right? But there is a part of you that remembers all these seasons, right? The undying part of your soul. And I think it's interesting how it's like, it talks about the idea of when they're going towards like a bad route to make them get really focused on the bad itself. But then when they are going in a good direction to focus on everything but the good that's happening to them.
That reminds me of another portion, like earlier, where it talks about like I forgot what it was exactly, but like the idea of if it is like good outward, like that back to that like kind being kind example, if they think that they're really kind, rather than making the person focus outside on like being kind, just keep on making them like turn inwards to like make themselves think that they're kind, but not actually show anything of that. And then also the idea of being like greedy, um, or something like that. Like, oh yeah, like being greedy or like something that like that with desire. Okay, desire. Like the idea of desire, have them focus on the object of desire itself rather than looking inwards and be like, wait, I am in a state of like desiring, right? I think it's like that point you're making is closely tied to that, which I also thought was really interesting too. The idea of, if it's actually good, have them focus on the outside. If it's bad, keep them, or no, if it's bad, keep them focused on the outside. If it's good,
Yeah.
have them turn back inwards. Um, which is really interesting because it honestly, in a way, if you like really try to like take that, it almost gives you a guideline on like, what to do. Like
Yeah.
if it's like a bad thought, like desire, focus back inwards, recognize it and deny the desire. If it's good, like the kindness thing, bring it out, actually show it, like do the hard
Yeah.
part, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
I think that is kind of what I was trying to say. I think I accidentally said it in reverse. But when you said focus inward on the bad things, this reminds me of something. Bring this up a lot, but it's because it affected me. But I was in David's bedroom one day when we lived together, and I was going through a really tough time. And I remember him telling me, he was like, we might have even talked about this in book club before. He's like, your emotions are kind of like clouds, they're all up there, and you kind of need to like focus, look at them as they are, as their emotions, and kind of let them pass by and witness them from afar, right? And I think when you're having those bad thoughts and you look inward, that is detaching yourself from the clouds. That's looking at them from afar, because you start focusing on what you're feeling and why you're feeling it instead of feeling it, And I think it's interesting because I've never thought of like the reverse of that, which isn't even just feeling it, but it's like refusing to do anything else but feel it. Like being like stuck in that state where you don't even understand what's going on. And when I go back in my life and think about all the moments that I look back and I was like, wow, that was really tough. That was really rough. They're almost always characterized by a strong negative feeling and having and being lost, having no understanding of what's going on. I think part of that is like, back to the cloud metaphor. If you separate yourself from it, it's very easy to notice that it's going away. But when you're in it and you're not thinking about what's happening to you and you're just completely getting like consumed by these emotions, it can sometimes feel like it's never going to end because you don't understand what's causing it. So how could you stop it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just say that's a beautiful fucking metaphor.
Yeah.
10
David
out of 10.
Hit a banger with that one, bro.
Yeah, that you cooked, dude.
Seth put it in better words than I could. He messaged it much more elegantly than I think I remember putting it. Because no, I didn't tell you this in the bedroom. I told you this that I was drunk at the dock at the lake house. I'm gonna be completely transparent and real.
I remember that one too. Sorry, I get it.
Your fantasy idea of the conversation.
Let's bring it back to perspective, all right, Seth?
Yeah. Bring it back to the will. Oh man,
it's something that I've always really. What catalyzed me into thinking of it that way was, have you ever heard of a guy named Duncan Trussell?
Nope.
No. Well, he's a little weird, wonky guy, but in the non-derogatory, in the best way possible. But he was talking about a certain situation where he was like, I remember being really angry, and I started to feel that anger, but instead of just feeling it, it was weird because I kind of took myself out of it and sort of just watched it bloom in a weird, fiery kind of rose type of situation. And that helped me quell that fire and sort of put it out a little bit and observing it in that manner. And that is definitely a reason as to what catalyzed me to start looking at things a little bit more in that light. Although it's always still a work in progress, as we are humans, and it's very difficult to always stay very right and straight in those regards. But great mental practice for any and all situations.
Do you? I'm gonna get a little abstract here. This is just piqued my interest. But do you guys think that so emotions, as David just talked about, taking yourself out of the emotion, viewing the emotion in its own state, and like letting it fizzle out. What do you think? How do you? Because in that case, it almost sounds like the emotion is separate from the person, right? And I think almost it kind of is. But do you like? What do you guys think about that? Like, what do you guys think about the idea of, being you? Like, isn't it like your soul or like your body and the emotions are something else entirely? Or is the emotion like the body? Just like, I'm like
Oh,
the old
wait.
philosophy question of like soul versus mind, spiritual versus physical.
I
Like,
really feel as
what do you guys
though,
think about that?
personally, I feel That's a good talking point. I feel as though that emotion is, I would consider it more of that of the in the body state instead of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
The reasoning specifically, I don't know if I can put it into words. I think this is something I'll need to journal down, like truly think about to actually express it. But that's definitely my answer. That emotions are, I guess, more in that physical state than in that spiritual aspect, which is kind of what I guess would sort of add weight to that thought is the fact that it kind of is possible to remove yourself and watch yourself be angry or feel an emotion.
So,
That's
do you and Seth, Connor, feel free to also chime in and even cut me off, anyone, honestly. Like, do you think then that the that 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 thing that you pull away from emotion, yourself, then is your soul? Then, like in that case, like do you think like almost like your ego, or yourself is your soul? If that makes sense, like versus that emotion which is now connected to like the body in a sense, or because this is my other I like thing that I'm thinking about, like is emotion just entirely something on its own, is like separate from both the physical and the soul, like you know?
I
I think
think
soul and ego has to be separate because ego to me is what gives what gives you the personality, the uniqueness, and then the soul is that connecting aspect between you and everything and everyone around you, that overarching kind of power. I don't know if that's a great way of explaining. I don't know if y'all are picking up what I'm putting down, but that's sort of my answer to that's my personal answer to that question.
I think personally that emotions are separate, but they can affect it. You know what I mean? Because like emotions can come and go, but sometimes the because it's kind of like the feeling of these emotions can have an effect on you for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like
True.
trauma. And
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
I
think
yeah, go for it, please.
the way I see it, and I think this is how I've seen it for a while now. And I think all of you really spoke to like part of this concept. But I think that it's almost like there's separate emotions for your like mind and body, and there are for your soul. Like I have different words for them. Like there's a difference between being happy and having joy. There's a difference between being relaxed and having peace. There's a difference between, you know, being angry and having rage. Like, I don't know, have you ever met somebody that just has joy? And like, they clearly can be sad and upset. Like, they're able to express that emotion, but there's kind of this like underpinning. They're just like a happy human being. You know, that's the stuff that I see as like in your soul. I think I try to have a soul of peace because I'm a pretty anxious person. And so I think that like, and they do affect each other, right? But in the way where I think like your emotions are a very temporary thing, where what's going on in your soul is a more like grounding, anchoring force. And it's something that you have to protect way more than you have to protect like those immediate feelings, right?
That's a very good point, because I think like emotion versus feeling, I forgot if those are the two words, but like there's a difference between like feeling something short term, like getting really sad for like right now, but then actually like being happy, like living, like having a happy, peaceful life, and you're just kind of in this constant state of happy and peaceful. Like there's a long term emotion, or maybe long term feeling. I can't remember which is which. The long term emotion versus like a really fast, like quick response to a certain thing in a moment, a fleeting feeling. And there's a meditation technique, and this is also something that like separates almost the feeling from the soul. Whatever you want to say. But it goes like you meditate, you close your eyes be in the state of stillness, and you pick up whenever you get like a random like feeling or even thought, like something that's like real quick, like oh, all of a sudden like you just have this random feeling. You say, okay, I'm feeling right now. It's something I thought, like oh, I'm thinking right now. To kind of bring yourself back to your equilibrium.
Hmm.
And I think that's a good point, great point where like the soul kind of has that long lasting emotion or like a feeling like someone who like lives a life like it is like something that's like really played in movies. I don't know how realistic is, but like the revenge thing, right? Where it's like you're
Hmm.
always in this constant state of anger and resentment. Um, so it's like the long term emotion versus like a quick fleeting feeling, which you can just pick up that you're feeling it right now, view it from this outside point of view, and then kind of toss it off. Um, I don't really know where I'm going with that, but like I guess I'm just talking. I'm just kind of yapping. But like I don't know. Like yeah, I guess that the idea of maybe the whole point is to just try to separate that fleeting feeling, the short term, outside of your actual like don't let it affect your long term, like your soul and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Try to separate yourself from it.
Well, I guess that's what kind of what my question would be is like, what are you guys? I mean, maybe you're not doing anything, but what are you guys doing to protect your soul? Like, what are the steps you take to prevent yourself from internalizing those feelings in a way that's like constantly like affecting you?
Ooh, what
I,
am I doing?
I
That's
can
What
what
am I doing?
what am I doing?
fuck.
Yeah.
I have one thing I can just think of really quick because I do it often. Um, Sometimes I'll like kind of like what I mentioned before, like go to state of equilibrium. I think something that helps with that is actually like a physical cue. It's like almost counterintuitive. Like sometimes I'll like kind of put my hand like this, like not like exactly up to my chest like this. Sometimes because I'm not going to be walking around being weird having my hand like this. But like it might be like it might be like to my side, and I like kind of put my hand in like this, like the motion, the position, and it kind of helps me return back to that equilibrium. And this is also slightly counterintuitive, but it's actually kind of the idea of trying to remember to stay in the present and return to the present.
Mhm.
Because it for me, because like this is the thing too, is like I think it's different for everyone else. And the way I'm describing it might not click for someone, but it could mean the same thing. Like when I say return to the present. But like it's almost the idea of, you know, I mean, disconnecting from that feeling. Like it's so easy to get bogged down on that really like right now feeling of like just discontent, and then like really kind of overthink it or dwell on it and make it larger and larger and larger until it just affects your overall mood for who knows how long. And so kind of like this, returning my equilibrium or like return back to the present as well, of like bringing it back, like okay, no, like this is what's going on right now. This feeling is just something that like I need to let out, you know? And for me, like kind of returning back to the present helps with that because it makes me like stop putting on these shaders of the emotion, the feeling, and come back to where we currently are, like what's currently actually happening. That's kind of my regimen.
What's interesting is
First.
you've kind of, since you have like a physical regimen to it, you've kind of combined the two, the body and the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
true.
The
dude,
ultimate amphibian.
it's in the book. The part about prayer when he talks about how like convince them that their body posture doesn't matter, that they
Oh, I
can
forgot
pray
about
Ooh,
that.
wherever.
I forgot about that too.
Oh, Howie.
that's crazy.
Now I'm on to
But
something.
it's a good point though, because it's like the physical cue, like when I think of that, I think of the taking a deep breath, like going like does that actually make you not mad? Well, clearly it does, but it's what's making you not mad is probably not the breath. It's the breath is telling the breath is you going, all right, mind, we're not mad anymore. That's what this breath means. I'm informing you that that's where we're going, you know. And I think I need to I think I need to figure out my physical posture, because my main form of defense is talking to myself, and I can't do that in public. That'll be quite problematic.
Yeah, I feel like if there's
say,
like a camera watching me 24/7, it definitely sneaks some moments of me going like this, but I'm like trying I'm just like
how he's
I like make
walking.
sure no one's like looking at me. I just go, you know.
I'm imagining how you're doing a quick little 1-2.
That's so awesome.
Sometimes you gotta
I
bring
was gonna
yourself
say
back, you know.
personally that for me, I don't know if I really have any specific thing that I think about doing to protect my soul. However, I would like to think that I am someone who is conscious about how I'm feeling in my emotions, and I think that in and of itself is a practice of keeping your soul protected, in the sense of it's a, maybe a weird form of meditation where you're just observing yourself through an outside manner, even though you're not really outside of yourself. But I would say that that is my go-to, even though I don't say I consciously do it to protect my soul. But it is a practice that I have picked up along these 23 years of my life. I don't know when I picked it up, but it's definitely there, and it's being honest with how I'm feeling as well.
I will affirm that belief. I mean, I think that the cloud conversation was like literally. I think I walked away when that I was like, "Wow, that guy's way better at this whole like spiritual peace thing than I am." Like he's lapping me right now. So I've been trying to catch up.
That.
I
Trying to
mean,
catch up.
you can almost feel yourself starting to like break away from the equilibrium in a sense. Like you can
Yeah.
find you kind of start to feel yourself like to get discontent or like feel out of like normal state, which is interesting. Like
Yeah.
if you really think
Well,
about that in abstractions, that's kind of interesting. But like when you pick that up, come back somehow, however it is.
the Tao Te Ching, the gravity, when you're getting away
Mhm.
from your center. But I also wanted to. There was another thing I wanted to touch on real quick, because I think that what you're talking about, David, about being conscious about it, not to continue tooting your horn, but I feel like that's almost like, and this honestly kind of goes back to like meditations, right? Is the dream is this constant state of being in this, right? And I'm not there yet. Like when I'm feeling really stressed, like the most effective thing for me is I will put my phone down on my little thing. I'll grab my water bottle, I will grab my keys, and I will walk outside and I will leave my shit in here. And then I'll go down to my pool and like listen to the water. And the thing is like I if you've never done it, I highly recommend just literally physically removing yourself from the device is wonderful, because it causes me a lot of stress. The problem is I cannot do that most of the time. Like it has to be a very specific moment in time where I can safely be uncontactable. That moment in time doesn't come very often, and I relish when it does, right? But now that I've gotten better at like getting to those moments, I have to actually start moving in towards like practical solutions, which will allow me to like be in that meditative peace state when I'm doing my like daily job, you know. And I think Howie, I think your physical posture thing is powerful. I'm stealing that now.
Go for it, man.
I'm not going to do
For
this
sure.
one. I think it needs to be my own thing for it to work.
Something that speaks to you.
Yeah.
Connor, how about you?
Yeah, Connor, I haven't heard what you do.
He
So
goes to Eagles tribute bands.
yeah, I go
He
to
does
every
X
single
Games
one
with
of their
60
shows,
plus
man.
year olds.
No, I kind of do what you do, Seth. I talk myself. Like I'm a hype man for myself, and I'm lucky in the fact that I don't know if this is lucky, but I'm by myself most of the time, right? With my job, I'm on a roof and I'm just listening to burn for like fucking 10 hours a day. So I'm able to just like talk to myself. I'm like, all right, if whatever's going on, I fuck up or something, I get a call about it, then, like I can hang up and be like, all right, just take it as a learning experience, like all this other stuff. It's actually gotten really bad to the point where I was training someone at work last week or a week or two ago, something like that. And I just like started talking about like to myself, like, okay, well, it's not this. It could be the pressure switch, or it could be, and then like he's like, why are you doing that, man? I was like, that's fucking sick. I'm like, dude, I'm so used to being by myself, I don't even notice anymore.
That guy's like, I need to get out of this job.
I was like,
I need to get away from this guy.
The funny thing is, he was like, all of you guys do that. Like all of like the service techs that he's worked with so far, and he's like, I was like, dude, you'll be surprised once you're by yourself, you're gonna start doing it too.
Yeah,
you hear the voices.
You start
That's
hearing
so
it,
funny.
man. You start hearing the voices and the condenser fan motors, man.
oh yeah.
Have you ever taken that as a state of meditation, that constant, or just being on the roof, kind of? I don't know how much wind or how hot or how it feels up there, but is that ever also maybe a moment in time where you're kind of just there in that present moment, in that being?
I will say yes and no. Because the what is it called? Tinnitus, the constant ringing in your ears. Yeah, it's gotten pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you wear hearing protection? Do you have?
I wear AirPods, like in one
That's
ear.
not hearing protection, dude. You need like plugs or muffs or something, bro.
You get used to it.
No, Connor.
You do not.
Connor, you're not supposed to get used to it. It's supposed to always be loud.
But yeah, no, in a weird way, there is kind of like a calm, like once you've gotten used to it. It's almost like kind of comforting in a way. I don't know. It's like white noise after a while, Yeah. And then like once like for some reason, like if you go up to a roof, like I've had this happen before where like I've just gone up to a roof and there's been no units running. That's terrifying. Like, if I hear no units running, I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be a long time.
That brings you back to the physical.
Yeah. He yearns for the hum.
I do yearn for the hum. If I go up to a roof, I'm just like supposed to be in and out. Like, I know there's 2 compressors in this unit. That means 2 circuits. If I hear at least 1 compressor running, I'm like, all right, at least they'll be 50% today if I can't get, it fixed today. Or whatnot, Another thing I do is I buy stuff for other people specifically. Like if I'm just like at a store, like I'm at like Skechers or something. Hey Dudes is right next door. My dad loves Hey Dudes. I'll go buy him some Hey Dudes. Something like that. It's just like
hey, that's that concentric circle right there. That's making your will be known in the immediate circle around you.
Yeah.
Or if like I work at Post Oak Mall and College Station a bunch, and Haley's the manager over there at a Spirit. Like if I'm over there or if I'm like about to go over there or something, I'll just buy like a Red Bull or buy like a Dutch Bros fur and I'll just drop it off to her.
Nice.
Yeah. Good chilling.
That's cool.
It's very, very neat to hear all the different means of protecting one's soul, or I guess also consider. I don't know if I'd say coping, because then you'd be coping with something or for something, but protecting one's soul. I'll go with that.
I don't know if the buying stuff for other people thing though is necessarily good, because in my brain I'm almost like, it sounds fucked up, but like there's like a part of me where I'm like, most of me is like, I just want to do this because I want to do it. It's like I love them, then I'll get them something. I have the means to do it right now. Why not? But then there's also a part of me that's like, man, this will bring me good karma, you know? Like this is good for the soul, you know?
I mean, that's better than never. That's better than not doing anything for the people around you, I would
Maybe the
say.
karma
For
is
sure.
it being good for your soul.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like there's kind of like a malicious intent to it. It's like it is selfish in a way, you know?
The
I mean,
hard
There's
thing
an
with like
argument that is it.
selfishness.
Are you doing it for them, or are you doing it for you yourself to feel good?
That's the thing, man. It's
You're
like
doing it for the feeling.
because like a part of me is like, oh yeah, you know, I'm right here next to Dutch Bros. Haley likes Dutch Bros. I'll buy her Dutch Bros and I'll drop it off to her real quick. But then also like on the way back, I'm like, hey, that was good. That was good karma. That was good for my soul, you know? It's like, is this selfish?
I'm of the belief, because I've dealt with this exact feeling before. You can't let those feelings like take away from the fact that you did a good deed. Like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you did something nice for somebody else. How many other people are doing that? I wish more, you know? Like if everybody in the world bought everybody gifts out of a selfish desire, everybody would still be buying everybody gifts. Like at the end of the day, like the nice deed would be accomplished. Like that's how I felt about Mr. Beast before he got like super duper weird. I was like, dude, yeah, okay, yeah, he's clearly doing this for money, but how much have you donated to charity recently?
The means are justifying the ends.
Yeah, how many trees have you planted? You know, like yeah, it's weird and kind of gross, but he's improving the world more than I well, actually, I won't say more than I ever can, but more than I have in this current moment. That's for sure. You know,
I'm gonna come back to the concentric circle because I think that could be applied here in the sense that karma, yeah, maybe you're thinking, oh, this is good karma or this is a good deed for me, but could you argue that that is in that fantasy circle instead of that? And that thought is in the fantasy circle, while the action and the deed that you did is in the center will circle.
I think you could argue that. I get like what you're saying is like the thought that this is good karma for me is a fantasy. So it doesn't actually materially affect the world around you, but the action is still firmly planted in the will, in the actual action that you did. Right.
Like that.
I mean, I think we would all agree that the dream is that you do it just to do it, you know, do it literally out of the kindness of your own heart. But I don't think you should subtract from your kind acts like that. I think, you know, you'd still feel good about doing them.
It's better to do it than not to do it, right? Even if like it's better to do it with that in mind than to not do it because you think it's selfish. And it's also kind of
Very
like
true.
it's kind of like that, you know, bringing that kindness, like only having it inwards. Like in this case, like you have some of that kindness inwards where you're like, oh man, I'm so kind. But like they say, you know, in here it's like, but don't let them bring it out. Don't let them put it out into the world. But here you are, you're putting it out into the world, right? You're affecting those around you.
I
So
guess that's fair.
like I said, I mean, I think I agree where it's like it's better to do it even if you know maybe do feel that selfish desire versus not doing it because you feel that selfish desire. You know what I mean? Because at
Yeah.
least you're still making someone's life better, even if like it
Even if
might
it's
be
1%.
selfish.
You know?
Guess that's fair.
Just bring that kindness out whenever you can, for whatever reason, whatever's driving you, bring it out for anyone and everyone.
Bring it to the will.
Just
Bring
something
it to the
about
will.
the energy of this server right now that is just so nice.
Dude,
So
I
calming.
kind of say the energy is. I'm loving this energy.
I'm loving this energy.
Energy. It's a
The
compliment to
energy.
your soul. That's why it resonates with me.
Oh, he's figured it out.
Yeah.
He's
It's a
figured it
compliment to
out
your
after all
soul.
this time.
Oh my gosh.
That's so
This is a
fun.
good
The
book, boys.
energy.
This is a fun read.
This
It is
a
fun.
one.
It's a lot easier because it's narratively focused.
Oh yeah, honestly, personally for me, the most straightforward book that we've read so far. However, also the most fun book we've read so far.
Wow. Well, let's see how you feel in 8 chapters. Just kidding.
Yeah, dude. Let's see.
No,
Let's
I'm
see.
excited.
Let's see how you feel once you get called out, David.
Actually, what was it? I recognized the moment where I felt called out, but then we moved to other conversations, so I forgot it.
Let's recap everything real quick.
I'll
Let's run
re-listen
it
to this
back.
one, and then we'll come back to it. I'll make a note of it next time.
We'll open
But
the top of the next show with that.
With
I have
you
some
talking
homework
about how
to
you got
do.
called out. Yeah.
Well, next book club, the next 8 chapters, so up to through chapter 16.
Yeah, through chapter 16.
Nine, all inclusive, 9 to 16.
9-16.
Which
And
I
then
also, yeah,
go for it.
I was gonna say I also like how at the end of chapter 8 it like ends on like a next time. At the end of chapter 8 it says next week I will give you some hints on how to exploit them. Like okay, all right, next time we'll talk about this next time.
Very convenient.
Yeah, it was very convenient. I remember reading
So
that.
I
Was like,
read chapter 9 because I thought we were supposed to read chapter 9.
Oh, because he said, well, then you just got one less chapter to read.
There you go.
So I started reading into chapter 9 too, just because I was like enjoying the book.
Yeah, I was also at the same time. I was like, thank God we're not stopping on chapter 8 because of that fucking cliffhanger at
right,
the end.
right. Next week.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm down for next week. Do this at ASAP because
I'll be down.
it was also
If we
a
can,
pretty
for
fast read and a good read at that.
Oh, I was kind of bad. I was just sitting on a job and I read this in like an hour. But it was
Hey, however you can do it.
I mean,
That's awesome.
reading 8 chapters an hour, that's pretty good.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
To really materialize
It's been
and mull
impressive.
on all right, friends.
All
Well,
right, yep.
boys.
9-16
anything
inclusive.
to end off on?
Any final thoughts?
Um,
Time to get it. Next chapter. Or next 8
Yeah.
chapters.
Yep.
Next
Excited.
chapter.
I'm excited.
All right,
We'll be
friends.
back with a picture of us in costume.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yeah.
I am looking forward to that.
Connor's got to be in the center. I'm throwing that
Of
out there right
course.
now. Connor is
Of course,
center
of course.
character.
no, we're all gonna look great, guys.
Connor, it's your word.
Yeah,
Staying
sure.
humble.
Okay, dude.
Staying humble.
Yeah,
I like
whatever.
it, Connor.
All
I
right,
like it. See, Connor's picked up some things from our books.
He's learned.
Yep.
All right,
All right,
guys.
All right, well,
y'all
peace
have a
out.
great night. Good book talk.
Yes.
Peace.
Of course. See y'all.
Later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's book club. If you want to support us, please feel free to leave a rating and review on wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so either one of those would be great help. Also, leave a follow. That'd be amazing too. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, please leave some comments, like the video, subscribe. Another way you can help support us is we are Amazon affiliates, which means you'll see in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. On the episode, there will be a link to the book that we are currently covering, or if we spin the wheel to select our next book, you'll also see a link to the next book that we will be covering as well. And these links are to the books the exact same books that we are reading during the podcast. So, if you're going to read the book anyways, it'd be a great help if you could use the link. It's going to be no additional cost to you, and we do get a small percentage of the proceeds. So you get a book, and we also get benefits. It's a win-win, honestly. And even if you don't get, like, even if you don't use the link, I still recommend getting the book. One, because it helps to read what we're reading, so you can kind of have some more context into what we are discussing, as well as having your own book. We're not covering everything in the book on the podcast. That's impossible to do in an hour and a half, and so it allows you to get some really nice information in there that again we just can't cover. And it also allows you to annotate your own book. So, if years down the line, you can kind of come back to the book, kind of remind yourself on the lessons you learned. And, if you reread it again, you can have almost like a conversation with yourself back in time too. It's really an investment to, I think, read and buy books. So again, thank you for listening to Book Club and can't wait to catch you in the next one.